Welcome to Learner's Planet, my dear children. Children, in today's session we will study about solids, liquids and gases. Right? So let's start with this session. Children, do you know what is matter? First of all, we should be familiar with the term matter. So children, the object that occupies space and has mass is called matter. Right? And everything around us is made up of matter. For example, chocolate cake, the yummy chocolate cake, ice, oxygen, etc. Right? So, whatever we see or whatever is surrounding, whatever is present in our surrounding, all is made up of matter. Even we, the human beings, are also made up of matter. Right? So, children, just look around you. You can see matter that makes up the walls of your house and even your classroom. Matter is large and matter is small. So we can say that objects take up space, right? It can be large or it can be small. For example, how we can say that object occupies space is called matter? How can we say this? We will take one example over here. Just think that your computer is taking up space on the desk. You are taking space when you are sitting on the chair. That means object is occupying space, right? So this is proved. Now we have to prove that the object that has mass, right? So how can we say that objects have mass? Let's take one more example. First of all, we should know that what is meant by mass. Children, mass means how much there is of an object. That means it is related to how much something weighs, right? Mass and weight are two different things. The unit for mass is gram. Always remember this, right? And if we have to understand these terms, then let's take one example, right? What you can see over here, these are two pictures, right? So let us take an example of a potato, right? Let's get closer and closer to the smaller parts of potato atoms, right? Can you see this? These are atoms which are present inside the potato, right? This is the potato which we see from outside. But what is actually present inside? Yes, potato atoms are present inside the potato, right? So what are these small parts known as? Yes, these small parts of the potato are called atoms, right? So we saw one example. In the same way, we have to see another example also. Like you can take any of the vegetable or any of the fruit. In every vegetable, fruit or anything, atoms are present, right? If we take an example of a carrot, then carrot atoms will be same. Then if we take an example of radish, there will be radish atoms inside that radish, right? So these are some of the examples in which I am showing you the smallest parts which are present inside these things, that is atom, right? So what can we say? That these small parts of the potato are called atoms. That means anything we see and can feel is made up of atom, right? So all atoms are too small. These atoms are very, very small, right? They are too small to be seen with an aided eye or even with a microscope, right? You cannot even see these atoms even with the help of microscope. They are so small, right? So these atoms are present, these atoms make up matter. These atoms are actually present in each and everything we see, right? All matter is the same, is it? No. Matter is composed of different kind of atoms, and that's why we can say that all matter is not the same, because it is made up of different kind of atoms. And if they are made up of different kind of atoms, then obviously all the things would be different, right? Like for example, if there is bottle or computer or bedroom, a bedroom which consists of a bed, right? All are made up of different kind of atoms, and that is why they seem to be very different, right? So we can say that matter is composed of different kind of atoms. Yes. For example, silver is made of one kind of atom known as silver atoms. Gold is made up of one kind of atom known as gold atoms. Bronze is made up of one kind of atom known as bronze atoms. So there are different examples which are made up of different kind of atoms, right? Even salt is made up of two different kind of atoms, like sodium and chloride atoms, right? So we can see here that matter is composed of different kind of atoms. So always remember that all the objects occupy space and they have mass, right? You use your sense of taste and smell to tell the difference between spinach and an orange, because they are made up of different kind of atoms, and that is why they appear different. A spinach appears green in color, orange appears orange in color. So people describe objects in many ways using their size, shape, colors and textures. So what can we say? What can we conclude from this? What can we conclude when people describe the objects using size, shape, colors and textures? Yes, we can say that matter can change from one form to another one. How is this possible? Yes, we can make this possible by taking one example, like ice in the soda melts, like glass melts on heating, right? And when the ice in the soda melts, where does it go? What does it become? Yes, ice is water in the solid state, right? What happens to the ice? It melts in the soda, right? So the melting process takes place over here. So from this example we can conclude that there are mainly three states of matter, right? If you remember, ice is water in the solid state. So remember children, there are three states of matter: solid, liquid and gas. And we also discussed about water. Water also exists in three different states, right? They also appear in solid, liquid and gaseous state, right? Because whenever we drop the ice cube in the liquid, it begins to melt because the temperature is higher than that of the ice cube. The temperature in the liquid is higher than that of the ice cube, and that is why ice cube melts in this liquid, right? Or in the water. So the ice cube becomes liquid water after some time, right? So this is an example of a physical change, right? Because its shape changes. The solid water turns into liquid water. It does not turn into soil, right? It remains water only. So if it did change into soil, then our drink would taste terrible. And it is an example of a chemical change, right? So what is this chemical change? Chemical changes are the changing substances into another substances, right? The whole substance changes, not its shape or size matters. The substance only changes. So if it could happen, ice changing into soil would be an example of a chemical change. So is this clear to you? This is a real example. We can also take a real example of a chemical change, like spoiling milk or burning toast, right? So chemical changes happens when milk is spoiled and the toast is burnt, right? Milk needs to be in the refrigerator or else it will go bad after some time, right? If we will keep it in room temperature, the milk gets a sour odor, right? You can ask your mother, if we will keep the milk out at the room temperature for many hours, what will happen? The milk gets a sour odor, right? Even we can melt ice to get water, even we can melt ice to get water, and we can freeze the water to get ice again, but we cannot make milk unspoiled when once it is spoiled, right? So these all changes are taking place in these states of matter: a chemical change, a physical change, right? Can say that properties describe matter. Yes, properties describe matter. For example, a block of wood, milk and air all have properties, all have their own properties. The state of matter means the group of matter with the same properties. Means we can group the objects together according to their properties, right? Ice has another property, water has another property. Water when in the solid state becomes ice, but when it becomes ice it has another property. When it is in liquid form it has another property, and when it is heated and converted into water vapor, that water vapor is the gaseous state of water, then that state has another property, right? So all the things, all the objects are combined together according to their property, right? So always remember that the state of matter means the group of matter with the same properties, and that is why we are discussing the three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. So let's move on to another topic, which is particle arrangement in matter, right? So here we will discuss about three states of matter, solid, liquid and gas, and how these particles arrange themselves in such type of matter. Yes, in solids the particles are tightly packed in a rigid pattern, and so it cannot move away from each other. As you can see here in this picture, this is a very rigid pattern. There is no space to move for the molecules, right? Here whatever is present, they are not able to move because there is no space between them, right? They are tightly packed. This is why solids generally have a fixed shape. For example, pen, pencil, wood, bottle, steel, computer, chair, table, etc. Sharpener, eraser, everything. Not everything, etc. Right? So these are all examples of solids which have the particles. These particles are tightly packed in such a pattern that they cannot move away from each other, right? This is why we say that they have a fixed shape, right? So we can say that a solid has fixed size and shape. Yes, it has fixed size and shape. Let's take one more example of a solid, a wooden block. The wooden block is solid because the solid has a certain size and shape, as we studied, right? As we discussed, the wooden block does not changes its size or shape, right? And other examples are computer, desk, floor, etc., which we discussed. So we can change the shape of the solid, we can also change the shape of the sheets of the timber, but how can we change it? By sawing it or by burning it. Then and then only it will change. Otherwise it will not change on its own. And that is why this is its property, right? So this is termed as solids. Now let's move on to another state of matter. Yes, another state of matter is liquids. What happens in liquids? In liquids the particles are not as tightly packed as in solids, right? So they can move and slide over each other. Exactly, they can move and slide over each other because there is some space in between these particles. As you can see here in this picture, they can move because they have some space, they are not tightly packed, right? So that is why we can say that the particles are not as tightly packed as in solids, so they can move and slide over each other. So because of this property of liquids, this makes liquids flow and take the shape of the container they are poured in. If any liquid is poured in a bowl, they will take the shape of the bowl. If it is poured in a glass, then liquids will take shape of the glass, right? If we are pouring it in a big container, a very large container, a very large vessel, then it will take a shape of that large vessel. If we are pouring it in a small vessel, it will take the shape of a small vessel, right? So it has such a property that liquids can flow, and that is why, because of this property, they can take the shape of the container they are poured in. For example, milk, oil, water, all such are examples of liquids. So we can say that liquids have size or volume because they can flow, right? And liquids do not have a definite shape like solids, because solids are tightly packed, that is why they have a definite shape. But liquids can flow, and that is why they do not have a definite shape. They can take the shape of the container, as we discussed, right? We can take one more example like milk. Milk is a liquid. It is a liquid matter. It has size or volume. Volume means it occupies space. But milk does not have a definite shape, right? It takes the shape of the container in which we are pouring it, right? So liquids can flow, it can be poured, it can be spilled. Did you ever spill juice or water on the surface? Did you notice how the liquid goes everywhere and you have to hurry up to wipe it up? Why so? Because the liquid is taking the shape of the floor. Because when we spill the liquid, then what happens? It will start taking the shape of the floor, and the floor is expanding limitless boundary until it hits the wall. So whenever liquid will hit the wall, it will change the shape. But if it is not hitting the wall, then it will just flow. So liquid has such a property to flow and take the shape of any type of container, or it will take the shape of anything where it is poured in or wherever it is spilled, right? So have you ever gave a thought that you can't spill a wooden block? Is it? No. We can drop it because it is a solid and it still has the same shape. If we will throw a ball, then what will happen? The ball will change its shape? No, it will not change its shape, right? It will still be the same because it is a solid, it is not a liquid, right? Like we spread butter on bread, but butter does not flow because it is not a liquid at room temperature. We have to heat the butter up to make it a liquid. So if we will heat the butter, it will change its shape, right? It will be in the liquid state then. And what about jelly? It is first a liquid, and we have to put it in the refrigerator so that it becomes what it becomes. Yes, the liquid shape will convert, right? And these are some of the yummy forms of matter with properties of a liquid and a solid, right? So I hope you are clear with this matter. Let's move on to another state of matter. Yes, and that is gases. What happens in gases, children? In gases, the particles are far apart from each other and they can move freely, right? As you can see here in this picture, right? So did you saw any difference between all these three pictures? In first picture, we saw the solid particles were tightly packed in solids, right? In liquids, the particles were able to move somewhat freely, and in gases, they are moving very freely because they are far apart from each other, right? So we can say that gases can also flow easily. So liquids and gases have these same properties, that liquids can flow and gases can also flow, but solids cannot flow. And that is why we can say that gases also take up all the available space present, right? For example, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, etc., hydrogen, helium, these are all such gases which can flow easily and which can take up all the available space, right? As for example, 78% of nitrogen gas is present in atmosphere, 21% of oxygen gas is present in atmosphere, right? So it takes up all the available space. So we can say that gases cannot be seen, as we cannot see oxygen gas, we inhale in, but we cannot see oxygen gas. So we can say that a gas is a matter, a state of matter that has no shape or size of its own, right? It has no shape or size like solids, right? And also liquids do not have a definite shape like solids. It runs in place very fast for a minute. Do you notice how hard we are breathing? what we are breathing is oxygen, right? We need oxygen to live. That is why we can only hold our breath for a certain amount of time, right? We cannot see oxygen. It is invisible. It is a gas, right? And as you know, that gas has no shape, no size, and gases have no color of their own, right? Gases are all around us. We can feel gas when the wind blows, when the wind is moving, right? So what we can say, the wind is a moving air, and air is a mixture of many gases, right? As you know that nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, many gases are present in the air, and air is visible. Air is invisible. You cannot see it, right? You can just feel it. All right. So I hope that all the three states of matter are clear to you, and this particle arrangement in a matter is clear to you, right? So we will discuss more about these states of matter in the next session. Till then, keep learning, keep enjoying. Thank you, children.